Welcome back here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. My partner Chris Walker alongside me, Chris Lucy, bringing you the top of the third inning. Chris Molfetta standing in the right-handed batter's box against the right-hander Kevin Coulter. Brewster leads 1-0 against the home team, and that first pitch is in on the hands and served down second base. Tyler Frank gobbles it up and fires to first for the first out of the inning.
Sounded like a broken bat to me. Got it way in on the hands, and I don't think he'll be using that bat anymore.
No, sir, that changeup just dipping in on him in the hands. One away. Brings up the top of the order. Troy Dixon already faced Coulter in the first. Grounded out to second. He stands in the left-handed batter's box. The righty deals as he tries to swear around a bunt, and the third base umpire, Joe Caraco, rings him up. 0-1 count on Dixon. The pitch. Cut on and missed. Quick 0-2 count on the second baseman from Samford. He's had a good couple of days, though, Chris.
For sure.
The 0-2. Strike three. Troy Dixon going down looking on the off-speed offering from Coulter. A quick 2 outs here in the top of the third.
And I think what you were going to allude to, at least in part, was that his brother TJ, his older brother, just got drafted by the Minnesota Twins, 706 overall. Great news.
For a baseball family, that's about as good of news you can get. Now Steele Walker at the dish. He serves the first one foul. He struck out swinging in the top half of the first. Infield playing straight away. Shadow starting to just dip over into left field now. The 0-1, cut on and miss, strike two.
Steele Walker did not make a single error in the field last year at a perfect fielding percentage, which is very good to see. Along with that .333 average at Oklahoma, great year.
The 0-2, in on the hands, up the middle. Proctor ranges over to his right, fires across the diamond. It'll be close, and he gets the out. Steele Walker almost beats it out, but can't quite get the job done. And the Brewster Whitecaps, although they lead 1-0, go down 1-2-3 in the top of the third inning. When we come back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network, Cole Murphy, Chris Proctor, and Reese Hampton, the 8, 9, and 1 hitters, are due up for the Harbor Hawks. You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
Welcome back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Cole Murphy up to start the bottom of the third inning against McDermott. The pitch. Low and away, count 1-0. Murphy in his first ups of the evening. Looks down the 1-0. Sends it high in the air down the left side. Walker and Hill converge on it. Walker ranging over to his right. Calls off Hill and gloves it for the first out of the inning. Murphy still searching for his first hit of the season. Proctor now stepping up to the plate. the left-handed catcher. 1 for 3 on the day last night. He stands in with 1 man down here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Hyannis down 1-0 against the Whitecaps. The first pitch comes in for a strike, low and inside. That curveball coming in low in the hands. The 0-1. High and outside, 1-1. It's worth noting about J.R. McDermott, he has a very herky-jerky set and release. When there's nobody on base, he just about balks every time with a little stutter step as he makes his way towards the plate. As the 1-1 comes in low and inside for ball 2. He'll kind of come to the set, make the kick, and as he's rearing back on that back foot to deal, that front foot just kind of hangs. Here's the 2-1. Inside. Changeup, or a curveball, I should say. Missing the zone again, counts 3-1. That hanging front foot, though, Chris, definitely helps him ride the back foot and generate some velocity.
Absolutely. I do agree with you there.
Here's the 3-1. Proctor slapping at it. Sending it high down the third base side, out of play.
I didn't hear you if you had compared him to Clayton Kershaw, but he looks exactly like Clayton Kershaw.
That's a good point. Payoff pitch. High in the air down to left center. Steele and Hill converge on the ball, but Hill calls him off. Ranging over to his right for the 2nd out of the inning. Another one hit over towards that gap. Hill and Walker getting their money's worth here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Brewster leads 1-0, and the Harbor Hawks really not making the most of their opportunities at the plate.
No, not at all. But Chris, as you mentioned, going back to McDermott, a lot of pitchers I see now start to do that Clayton Kershaw kind of hesitation like we saw right there.
First pitch just misses outside and high. 1-0.
And I think it's because so many kids nowadays look up to him, and he's such a great pitcher, and they want to emulate it. It works for him.
The 1-0 pitch. Sent on the ground down short. Chris Given ranging over to his right, fires across the diamond and gets the speeding Hampton for the final out of the inning. Another 1-2-3 affair for the Whitecaps. They've had that in 2 of 3 innings against the Harbor Hawks and lead 1-0 going into the top of the 4th, where Mickey Gasper, Michael Curry, and Chandler Taylor are due up. The 3, 4, and 5 heart of the order coming right up on the Harbor Hawks digital network after a quick break. Welcome back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network. Chris Lucy joined by Chris Walker for the top of the 4th inning from Judy Scarafile Field at McKeon Park. Brewster leads 1-0 over the hometown Harbor Hawks. Mickey Gasper, the first baseman, leading things off here. He stands in the left-handed batter's box, 1 for 1 on the day. Pitch. Low and away, count 1-0.
So, Chris, Yarmouth is up 3-2 on Orleans in the bottom of the 6th already. That game well underway. Katuitt 6-0 over Falmouth, bottom of the 4th.
The 1-0. In the dirt inside, count 1-1.
Chatham and Bourne scoreless in the top of the 3rd. Obviously, this game 1-0 Brewster over the hometown Harbor Hawks. And then Wareham and Harwich just starting in the top of the 1st, no score.
2-0, high and tight. 3-0 count on Gasper. Nobody on, nobody out here in the top of the 4th inning.
Katuitt in the best shape right now to go 2-0 to start their season.
That's the last thing Harbor Hawks fans want to hear as strike 1 pours in over the outside corner. A nice fastball. No love lost between the Harbor Hawks and the Kettleers. The 3-1 forthcoming. Here goes. A strike over the outside corner. That lows the count up at 3-2. One man down, nobody on.
Good pitch for Coulter right there to nibble on the outside corner and get the call.
The payoff pitch. Ring him up, strike 3. A nice changeup coming in from Coulter to get the out here in the top of the 4th.
Good pitch. Way to battle back from down 3-0 for Coulter and get the strikeout looking. As a batter, that's the last thing you want, but for Coulter, that's some resilience right there, and certainly what you like to see. After he's struggled, I mean, his fielders have struggled as well, but he hasn't had the easiest 3 innings, that's for sure.
Says a lot about that changeup he has, too, getting a .342 batter in his collegiate season, down looking as the first pitch to Curry is grounded down the third base side. Micah Coffey ranges over to his right, fires across the diamond for the 2nd out of the inning.
Good play for Coffey there. That was a tough hop. He caught it as it was a couple of inches off the ground. Those are always tough. Made a nice throw well in time. This defense is very, very good in the first 2 games.
One player who's seen kind of the worst half of the Harbor Hawks defense is Chandler Taylor, who stands in the left-handed batter's box right now. Reached on an error and then came all the way to third base from first on an error. First pitch comes in for a strike. Fastball over the inside corner at belt level.
You score a run and you're 0-4 and you advanced on all errors. And a sac fly.
That's baseball, and that pitch misses. 1-1. Just a little low and inside. Coulter with 2 down. Deals from the windup, and he hits Chandler Taylor, it looks like.
Fouled it off.
Fouled it off his foot there. 1-2 count with 2 down. Shadows starting to engulf left field and creep into center. And the next pitch is slapped down the first base side. Cole Murphy runs over but defers to a covering Kevin Coulter for the final out of the inning. And just like that, the Harbor Hawks get a 1-2-3, and we go into the bottom half of the 4th. The 2, 3, and 4 due up. Ford Proctor, Tyler Frank, and Brendan Donovan coming to you next on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network. The Brewster Whitecaps, however, lead 1-0 from McKeon Park. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network. Chris Lucy and Chris Walker joining you from the broadcast booth. Bottom of the fourth inning here. Ford Proctor stepping up to the left-handed batter's box. 0 for 1 on the day with the strikeout to start things off in the first. The first pitch from McDermott. Low and away, ball 1.
Proctor looking for his first hit of the season. Struck out once today.
1-0. Check swing. They don't check down the third base side, but it's ball 2.
He did some big things for this team last year, so we're waiting for that first one.
CCBL All-Star last year. Got good wood on some balls last night, too. 2-0. A strike high and outside. Another fastball, just finally catching that corner. Brewster leads 1-0 here in the bottom of the fourth. 2-1. Gets a strike call from Troy Dixon down at second base, but the home plate umpire has other ideas. 3-1 count.
Dixon always talking to his teammates and the umpires.
The 3-1. Slap foul behind home plate, and Dixon has the bat to back it up.
No, he sure does. And one of the things that I saw last year is that he talked all the time while he was out there in the field. He was not afraid to voice his opinions, talk to his teammates during the play, talks to his pitchers. Very vocal guy, and he's got a great bat to show for it as well.
The payoff pitch. Sent high in the air again to left center field. Darius Hill settling underneath it and making the play in a shadowy left field at the moment. 1 away.
It's hard to tell if it was colder at this time yesterday or today. It's actually still very, very nice out.
Indeed, we have some nice sun pouring in through a back window into the broadcast booth, and about 3/4 of the Harbor Hawks Judy Scarafile field still enveloped in sunlight, but making it difficult for right-handed pitchers as well as people coming in at first base and the left-handed batter's box, as that sun just gets right in your eyes. Tyler Frank at the plate, the first pitch. Low and inside. Fastball missing, 1-0. Frank 0 for 1 on the day. Flew out to left field in his first at bat.
Still only one hit for this Harbor Hawks team. They need to get their bats going.
1-0. Low and away. 2-0. They need to get those bats going lest they come out on the wrong end of a pitcher's duel like they won last night. It was a 3-0 win for the Harbor Hawks yesterday, but right now they trail Brewster 1-0. The windup. Stutter and the pitch. Hit right on a line to short. Chris Given stays put right where he is and gloves it on a line for the second out of the inning.
Another slow start to the inning for the Harbor Hawks, and it's just been a lot of one and done here and a lot of line drives right at people. It's a good job by McDermott for Brewster. He's been really dealing in this game.
2 of the 3 innings he pitched before this were 1-2-3s, and the Harbor Hawks are an out away from another 1-2-3 as Tyler Frank nubs that one off the end of his bat down the third base side. A 1 count. Lefty-righty matchup at the plate. 2 down. A 1 count. The pitch. Cut on and missed. Big hack right there from Frank. Missing it, that changeup. J.R. McDermott to the set. He deals the 0-2. Cut on and missed again. Strike 3. That changeup coming inside and bringing the Harbor Hawks down 1-2-3 for the third time in 4 innings. That brings up the 6, 7, and 8 hitters for the Brewster Whitecaps, who lead 1-0. Darius Hill, Pete Schuler, and Chris Given coming to the plate when we come back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Stay tuned. Welcome back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Chris Lucy joined by Chris Walker in the broadcast booth, where the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on their home Judy Scarafile Field at McKeon Park trail the Brewster Whitecaps 1-0. Kevin Coulter back out for his 5th inning of work, and first pitch is skied high in the air down the left field side. Daniel Robinson ranging over toward the foul line, gloves it for the first out. That brings up Pete Schuler, the catcher from Kent State. A fresh slate on the day for him. He had a sac fly in the 2nd inning that scored the lone run for the Brewster Whitecaps, which is their edge so far as they lead 1-0 against the Harbor Hawks. The pitch, a strike inside. That changeup moving in the zone pretty well, like Proctor said, having a lot of depth and falling in the zone for a strike. 0-1. Pitch. Strike 2. Cut on in, missed.
6 home runs for Schuler at Kent State, so he certainly has power. Drove in 30 runs. Is prone to the strikeout, had nearly 50 this season, so definitely something to watch.
The 0-2 hit on a line and threw for a base hit out into center field. Reese Hampton fields it on a few hops and fires into Tyler Frank up the middle. And just like that, the Whitecaps have a man aboard here in the top of the 5th inning with Chris Given coming up.
Solid piece of hitting by by Schuler. And when you hit it right back up the middle, that shows that the hitter saw the ball all the way and just he knew exactly what he wanted to do. Serves it in the center. He's on first with 1 away.
Chris Given at the right-hand side of the plate. 0 for 1 on the day. Pitch. Bouncer in the dirt, gets away from Proctor in the sunlight, and that brings Pete Schuler over to second on a free pass. No throw from Proctor behind home. He completely lost that in the sun, looks like. That scored a wild pitch. That brings a man to second base, and Pete Schuler with nobody down. Whitecaps lead 1-0. They have another man in scoring position now. Coulter bounces another one in, same place. 2-0 count now on Given. Shortstop junior at Xavier was preseason all Big East. Got a good run of things on at Xavier where his younger brother Matt will join him next year. The 2-0, a strike. Slider over the outside corner. 2-1 count. His brother Matt, also a righty. However, he's on the mound. Comes to the set, Coulter does. The 2-1. That slider again, missing the zone. 3-1. Man on second base is there on a single and then a wild pitch.
Xavier known for their good play in the NCAA March Madness tournament this year.
Always a bracket buster, and this year was no different. 3-1. Fouled off home plate. Fulls up the count at 3-2.
Given's another one of those guys that is a good athlete and a good student. He was Big East all-academic team. And that speaks a lot to getting your work done and playing good baseball, too, hitting over 300. So he could do it all for sure.
Let's see what he can do with a full count. Man on second base, 1 down. Brewster leads 1-0 over Hyannis. Coulter looks back to man at second. Held on by Frank. The pitch. Slapped high in the air down the right side. This will be interesting with the sun. Murphy called off by Frank, who gloves it for the second out of the inning.
A lot of fly ball outs Coulter is inducing here. I mean, a lot of fly ball outs to the infield. That was the second or third to second base. And it's been a very, very easygoing performance so far, I think, for Coulter. He's looked really good.
Exactly. And Chris Molfetta stepping up to the right-hand batter's box now. And it's helpful when you have your fielders behind you, not only fielding cleanly, but also taking charge over their responsibilities. It was obviously Frank's ball to get, and he called everybody off to make the play as Coulter steps off the rubber to keep Schuler honest down at second base, who slides in head first.
that was a miscommunication. Neither the second baseman nor the shortstop was covering. That would have been terrible if he threw it.
Well, considering how early it is in the season, the
Yeah.
fact that none of these guys have played before, they are communicating pretty well, but you
Absolutely.
can't expect it to be perfect just yet. And Ron Polk, the assistant coach, has been a stickler about that as the pitch pours over the outside corner for a strike, 0-1 on Molfetta.
Right, we really haven't seen that at all season, or in the past game plus here. And now he'll go talk, Coulter will go talk over with Frank the signs. But
Coulter and Frank strangers, but Molfetta not a stranger to this ballpark, Chris. He was on roster for the Harbor Hawks at the tail end of the CCBL season last year. Saw limited action for the Harbor Hawks. Coulter sets, looks back to man at second, deals the 0-1. Foul ball down the first base side, out of play.
Like you were saying, Coach Polk is certainly the guy you want to have talking to these players, and they've done an excellent job so far defensively, as in part as a result of what Coach Polk and that big handbook he gives them, and his own book that he wrote on defense. It's just a great tool to have, having Polk as one of the coaches for this team.
Ron Polk, the father of SEC baseball, they call him, literally writing the book on defensive baseball, as that pitch is a check swing, strike 3 from Coulter down in the dirt. Molfetta going down swinging to end the inning, and that is an inning for Coulter, ending pretty easily right there. Only one hit, one man left on base, and that brings up the Harbor Hawks for the bottom half of the 5th inning. Robert Newstrom, Micah Coffey, and Daniel Robinson, the 5, 6, and 7, due up for Hyannis when we come back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Stick it right here.
Here we go into the bottom of the 5th inning. Chris Walker, that's me. I'm taking over play-by-play for the second half. And after pitch number 1 here to Robert Newstrom, Chris Lucy has something very, very important to tell everybody listening and watching today. So here's pitch number 1 of the at-bat and of the bottom of the 5th, and it's ball 1. Chris.
Well, we're going to have a little word about Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape Cod League since 1991, holding over 600 events nationwide for players ages 8 through 18.
Second pitch is in there, strike 1.
Including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, plus 400 have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
The 1-1 is low in the dirt. 2-1 on Newstrom, who's 0 for 1 with a strikeout swinging in the 2nd inning. And this has been a pitcher's duel, as Chris Lucy has been talking about. Still only 1-0 in favor of Brewster. 2-1 in the dirt as well. 3-1, but a lot of 1, 2, 3 innings. In fact, 3 out of the 4 innings that McDermott has thrown have been 1, 2, 3. A lot of flyouts. And the Harbor Hawks have not been able to get anything going.
That's right, 2 strikeouts on the day for the Harbor Hawks. So when they haven't just been flying out, 3 strikeouts, I should say, they've been swinging through the ball and missing.
This pitch is hit in the air to right field. Chases Taylor back a little bit, but he eventually comes in and makes the play for the first out of the bottom of the 5th, and it brings up Micah Coffey, and there's another fly ball out. And McDermott has really been dealing. I've been very impressed with his off-speed pitches. And again, he's a guy that has 4 pitches that are all very, very effective. The curve, the change, the slider, and the fastball. And when you have 4 pitches going, it's just so effective, and we've seen it.
Exactly, especially when you are able to mix and match specifically between right and left-handed batters.
So here's the first pitch to Coffey, and it's in there for a called strike 1.
And as we mentioned, he usually just picks specific pitches just for the righty and lefty batters, which is what makes him so effective.
0-1 on the way upstairs and outside. 1-1 the count on Coffey, who has the only hit of the game for the Harbor Hawks. He's 1 for 1 with a single. That was back in the 2nd inning. 1-1 swing and a miss. There's the off speed. That's just a nasty pitch to mix in, and the count is 1-2.
Tough pitch to hit, especially when the sun is just pouring into your eyes, as we mentioned earlier. That left-handed batter's box also a victim to the sunlight that's just lingering over the ballpark.
1-2 pitch bouncer in front of home plate, and the count is 2-2. If you've got that good stuff, you're going to throw one in the dirt a couple of times, and that's to be expected, but it won't hurt McDermott here. Count 2-2 to Coffey, and the 2-2 on the way, and it's hit into center field, and it will fall for a base hit. Coffey is 2 for 2 with the only 2 hits for the Harbor Hawks to this point, and with 1 out, there is 1 on.
Nice little debut for Coffey here in the Cape League, and, you know, making it with style. He's got the bat that matches the team colors and the hits to go with it.
I'll tell you what, he's done his part hitting-wise. Now he's got to get his counterparts to do the job now.
Daniel Robinson, however, doing his part in the field, too. Some nice play out in left field from him today.
This brings up Daniel Robinson, Throw over to check on Coffey at first.
Robinson making a nice throw in from left field, getting it right to Micah Coffey, his counterpart on first base, to gun out a speedster in Mickey Gasper in the 1st inning.
Pitch is in there for a called strike. 0-1. Robinson is 0-for-1. He grounded into a fielder's choice to end the 2nd inning.
0 for 2 on the Cape season as well. 0 for 1 last night in a pinch hitting appearance.
The 0-1 breaking ball looked good, but must have missed outside again. That's why we're up here. And the umpire's down there called it a ball. Works in the Harbor Hawks' favor anyway, as it evens the count. Coffey leading off first. Not a big lead. Pitch on the way, and that's off the outside corner. 2-1 to the left fielder.
That outside corner's really been hit or miss all day for the home plate umpire, John Putala.
Whereas last night it was so consistently not called a strike.
A much looser zone down on Judy Scarafile Field today.
Absolutely. 2-1 on the way. It's hit right at the first baseman, Gasper, but off his glove. It's going to be a base hit for Robinson as he reaches first safely. That should be a base hit. That was a hard hit ball, but we'll see how they score it. But either way, there are 2 on and only 1 out.
Well, this is about as good a scoring opportunity as the Harbor Hawks have gotten all day. Only 1 other runner has gotten past first base, and surprise, surprise, that's Micah Coffey.
Fittingly, he's done the best job for sure hitting, and it looks like we're going to have a pinch hitter as Cole Murphy came up towards the batter's circle, but Coach Gassman has other ideas.
Cole Murphy 0 for 2 last night.
Yeah,
Wasn't necessarily impressive then. Flew out to center field in his first at-bat tonight as well. He has yet to get his first hit of the Young Cape League season.
We'll see who they have hit now. There it is. Connor Stevens, number 6 from Jacksonville University, the junior.
31 games played down in Jacksonville, batted 200 with 12 RBIs. Has to cut down on the K's, though, 28 of them in his collegiate season.
Getting his first swings, and we saw him in practice on Tuesday. Nice, easy swing for Stevens. Here's the first pitch, and it's inside. And the count is 1-0. So only one at bat on the day for Murphy. And they give Stevens an opportunity. Why not? 2 on, 1 out in the bottom of the fifth. 1-0 Brewster over Hyannis. And this pitch is cut on and missed. It's 1-1. Just threw him a pretty straightforward fastball. Let him see one. Hasn't showed him the changeup yet.
No, but McDermott's track record today, he doesn't really have to overcomplicate things. He's really been making very fast work of the Harbor Hawks lineup.
1-1 on the way, and this one is on the outside corner, strike 2. And that's that pitch that has been hit and miss. Count is 1-2 on Stevens. Took over for the first baseman, Murphy. McDermott waits for the sign. And there he goes. He gets one he likes. He's in the stretch. 2 on, 1 out. 1-2 pitch. Here it comes off the plate. Count evens at 2-2 to Stevens.
Some signs of life over in the Whitecaps bullpen. You can hear the smacking of a catcher's glove out there. Looks like they have a lefty warming up.
Nothing going on in the Harbor Hawks pen, however. Called strike 3 on the outside corner. Looked like the same place ball 2 was, but that's a strikeout looking for Stevens, and there are 2 away in the 5th.
That was probably the most life we've seen in any of McDermott's fastballs today. A decisive slap to the catcher's glove right there.
I know, that was good speed, and he painted the corner and brings up Chris Proctor, who's 0 for 1 as well. By this time last night, Proctor was already at his 3rd at bat, just hitting for the 2nd time here in the 5th. From the stretch, McDermott looks back and throws a breaking ball over the plate for called strike 1. Doesn't put you in a good spot as a hitter if you see a curveball just like that. That's a great curveball, and if you can get it over for strike 1, then you can set up every other pitch you have. 0-1 on the way. Fouled off third base side, out of play. And right near the interns who are at the gate there, behind the bleachers.
Watch out where you parked your car.
That seems like prime foul ball territory, along with the woods over to our right on the first base side. 0-2 the count on Proctor, the catcher, who's been doing his thing back there again tonight, and time called. Now the Shadows starting to, well, the Shadows are in center field now, and they make their way from left to right, as Chris Lucy said yesterday, like Wrigley. 0-2 pitch from McDermott is low and inside. 1-2. Proctor 0 for 1. Flew out to left, as I mentioned.
If you were looking for your caricature of summer baseball today, Chris, you found it. It's about as summery as it gets.
Absolutely.
Nice quiet crowd here. Just relaxed watching a ball game.
Very, very relaxed feel today. And even though it is a pitcher's duel, that one misses just off the outside corner. And the count is now even at 2-2.
Pitcher's duel possibly contributing to the quietness in that the Whitecaps are the ones with the 1-0 lead.
See if Proctor can help their cause here. 2 on, 2 out, 2-2. This one grounded towards third. Molfetta's got it, throws over to first in time. No further damage. No runs come across, so no runs on 2 hits. 2 left on at the end of 5 innings. 1-0 Brewster over Hyannis on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Welcome back to McKeon Park. We're back for the top of the 6th inning, top of the order for Brewster. Troy Dixon, the former Newport Gull of the NECBL, digs in. 0 for 2, strikeout and a ground out. First pitch misses low, 1-0 to the second baseman. Again, his brother just got drafted by the Minnesota Twins yesterday. Congratulations to TJ Dixon as pitch number 2 misses. It's 2-0. Brant Stallings takes over at first base for Cole Murphy, so Stevens just was in there for the 1 at bat to get him some swings.
Dixon's older brother, I must say, going into a good situation down in Minnesota. Organization with a future, but a little bit of a depleted farm system, as they've been calling up most of their big prospects to try and alleviate the big ball club.
2-0 misses. It's 3-0. 3-0 on the way. It's in there for strike 1. Taking all the way was Dixon. Coulter still out there for the 6th inning. He's had a very good outing. 3-1 misses. That's ball 4. And it's the first walk of the day for Coulter, which is, it's not good that you walk about it, but certainly not a bad thing that it's the first walk. But there's a saying that leadoff walks always come around to score, and we certainly hope that's not true here in the 6th with Steele Walker up.
I wouldn't hold my breath on that, Chris. Coulter really has been exceptional on the mound
Absolutely.
today.
Oh, I don't want to hold my breath on it.
Yeah, you kind of need every breath you can get here in the broadcast booth.
Throw over to check on Dixon.
You know, I do have to watch my tongue with you. I ask you if you want to roll out of here after the game. You'll probably be rolling around on those crushed white seashells
That's
out
right.
there, as you did in the library earlier today.
Of course, I took you a little bit too literally. So if I hold my tongue, it'll look like this.
I don't think we need to paint a picture of that for our listeners.
I gotta have fun.
That's what summer baseball is about, isn't
That's
it?
right. So Walker takes the first pitch 1-0. And no, it's not me. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about Steele Walker, who's a much, much better ball player than I ever was and will be.
That doesn't stop you from wearing the old high school letters.
No, I love it. And people ask me if it was a Hyannis jacket, and it's just because Danbury High School in Connecticut has blue and orange as their colors. The strike called, and the throw down to second just not in time, as Dixon has second base stolen. Good throw by Proctor. We've been impressed with him.
Really?
And he almost nailed Dixon.
Doing about everything he can there as a catcher. I mean, that throw comes a split second earlier, and they get Dixon by a nose. But the reigning NECBL MVP just a little bit too fast on the draw.
And he's the college version of the five-tool player, I think, as this one's hit in the air to right field. Newstrom under, it makes the play. Tagging is Dixon. He'll stand up at third base. So they move the runner over. There's one out and a man on third for Mickey Gasper. And as I was going to say, Dixon last season was what you would call a five-tool player because he can do everything that you can ask for on the baseball field. He steals. He's quick. He's got a lot of power. Hit a bunch of home runs. He can make plays in the field. He was like the captain of the team. And here we have another meeting at the mound.
Sent your beloved Westerners home a little early in the NECBL playoffs as well, unfortunately for you.
I know. He had a hand in doing that. Westerners were eliminated in 3 games by the Gulls. It was their first playoff appearance since 2012, though, for Danbury. So it was pretty cool to just be a part of it and go up to Cardines Field in Newport, which is a place that everybody should go at least once.
It was the Westerners' last playoff appearance since a familiar face in the Brewster Whitecaps dugout, Jamie Shevchik, their manager, was actually the manager of the Westerners.
I know, and also the man standing on third base, Coach Smythe, was their manager up until last season. So there's a lot of Danbury up here today, and it's kind of funny that as I'll get to my story in a minute, as Kevin Coulter exits, he's going to finish with 5 1/3 innings pitched, and that's a great outing for him. And when we come back, we'll take a quick break here, and we'll get everything on the relief picture right after this. You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Welcome back to the Harbor Hawks Digital Network, and there's a new pitcher for the Harbor Hawks, and Chris Lucy's here to tell you about him.
That would be Matthew Mervis, the right-hander standing on the mound. In 22 appearances for the Duke Blue Devils this season, he was 2-2 in 23 innings pitched to the tune of an ERA of 7.83. However, his batting average against him was .269, so not too bad from the big right-hander out of Duke.
First pitch to Mickey Gasper is a miss. It's 1-0. Dixon is on third base with 1 out. And the second pitch is low, 2-0.
Matt Mervis, a converted position player, also saw some time at the plate this season for the Blue Devils, batting .333 in a small sample size of 6 at-bats.
Pitch swung on and missed. That's the off speed. Good pitch there. It's 2-1. 1-0 is the score in favor of Brewster over the Harbor Hawks. We're in the top half of the 6th inning at McKeon Park. Chris Walker and Chris Lucy bringing it to you live. The 2-1 is popped up into foul territory, third base side, out of play. Now that's an easy souvenir, and the kids are right on top of it. T-ball style.
Like kill the carrier style. I see 3 of them really going after that one out in left field. Oh, to be young again.
And some would say that to us, oh, to be young again. It all depends.
I say everything a little bit facetiously.
This one hit into center field and pretty deep. And making the play, running to the wall is Hampton. That's a great over-the-shoulder grab. The run does score. So Dixon scores on the sac fly. It's 2-0 Brewster, but what a play. I mean, that was a great catch by Hampton out there in center. He had to cover, I would say, about 80 feet back there.
That was an exceptional over-the-shoulder catch, really with no regard for the wall either. He was able to stop up, thankfully, before he hit that rough, unpadded chain-link fence out in deep center field. But the deepest recess of the ballpark, stealing a home run for Mickey Gasper, really in any other part of the park.
Oh, absolutely. There's a first pitch strike to Michael Curry, who's 1 for 2. He has a double. He didn't get to stay on second as the last out was made on a play at the plate. Called strike 2 there, and then he grounded out to third base. He's DHing tonight. So 2 outs here. It's 2-0 Brewster. Still very manageable. Pitch way upstairs. Misses for a ball. 1-2.
MLB first-year player draft has really been all the rage so far this past week, but Matt Mervis is no stranger to that. He was selected by the Nationals in the 39th round as a high school senior.
Pitch in the dirt, 2-2. I mean, as in high school to get drafted, that's impressive.
Indeed. Spurned that, however, the hometown Nationals to go to Duke. Mervis, a native of Potomac, Maryland. Might have been an O's fan. We'll have to do a little bit of follow through on that.
Pitch low, and Curry's worked the count full. Good idea, I think, out of high school to go to school, to go to college and get that education, unless you're that good. But Curry made the decision to go to school. I like that. That pitch is popped up. It looks like it'll stay fair. Calling off everybody is Ford Proctor, and he makes the play for the final out of the inning. It'll go down as an F6, and that's how we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. It's 2-0 Brewster over Hyannis. We'll be right back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. We're back on the Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Chris Walker and Chris Lucy bringing it to you live. New pitcher is Ryan Avedano for Brewster, and Chris Lucy has his numbers.
Ryan Avedano looking more like an NFL offensive lineman than a left-handed pitcher out of the University of Georgia. 6'7", 230 pounds going into his senior year down there. But to the tune of a 7.77 ERA last season. He did that in 18 games pitched, about 24 and a thirds innings, 19 walks in that small sample size there, with a 2.77 batting average against.
So the line on McDermott, unless I'm forgetting anything, which I at times am, is he went 5 innings, gave up 3 hits, 4 strikeouts, no walks, and of course no runs allowed, as it is still 2-0 Brewster, and that's another great performance out of a pitcher. Both starting pitchers did very, very well today. And now both starting pitchers out of this game.
And that's part of the Cape. Guys are on pitch counts. They don't want to overtax their arms. So let the relievers come in here and do what they came to the Cape League to do, which is pitch, get outs, improve, and face some of the best hitters in collegiate baseball.
So Reese Hampton digs in for the 3rd time. He's 0 for 2 with 2 ground outs. First pitch of the bottom of the 6th is outside for a ball 1-0. Hampton made that over-the-shoulder grab last inning to save what surely would be extra bases. Next pitch is grounded slowly, foul. Chopped down the third base line, and the count is 1-1.
And it just goes to show how much farther exceptional fielding will really take you in this league, as just getting the job done, as the Harbor Hawks have done for the most part this season, will really put you apart from other teams. That big play in center field saved the Harbor Hawks big.
Right, and that could have set up a big inning potentially, and only the 1 run scored, and 2-0 is better than 3, or what could have been a lot more if that catch wasn't made. The 2-1 is flied out into right field in foul territory. No, it stays fair. Excuse me. Dixon misplayed it. And going to second and now making his way to third is Hampton, and he will slide in safely. So it's going to be a single, and I believe they'll charge an error to Dixon because he came all the way over and overplayed the ball, made me think it was going into foul territory, but it hit off of him in fair ground, and all the way at third base is Hampton.
Just a little bit aggressive on that stab in midair, trying to make an awesome play. He ranged over far on a ball that, for the most part, really wasn't his. Overplaying it for sure, but just reaching that glove out too fast, knocking it well out of reach of both the first baseman and right fielder.
So the first pitch to Ford Proctor is in there for a strike, and he's looking for his first hit still of the very, very young season. He's got a chance to have the lead here with a man on third and nobody out. Pitch misses there. It's 1-1. So an odd play to get Hampton over to third base. But whatever works. Avedano in the stretch. In trouble already. Pitch there is grounded, foul. And the count 1-2 on Ford Proctor, who plays shortstop today. He's done a very, very nice job over there.
Good pair of hands. That curveball from Avedano coming right in on them too. Just nicking the top part of the bat.
The 1-2. Breaking ball called. Strike 3 on the inside corner. And Proctor is down on strikes for the second time today, and there is 1 out.
Looked like a changeup right there. Ruthless downward movement on that off-speed pitch.
That brings up Tyler Frank, who's 0 for 2 with 2 pop-outs. Now, most of the field is in shadows. It's still very nice and pretty warm out here today. The sun's still out at 7:30. First pitch swung on and missed. by Frank, the second baseman. Still a man on third, one out. That's Hampton. And that would be the first run of the game. That stands 90 feet away. Oh, 1 on the way is low. Count evens back up to 1-1. But what we've seen in the first 2 days, I mean, perfect baseball weather, Chris. They couldn't really ask for two better game time temperatures.
No, very still out here as well. That wind usually playing a bit of a factor to make it chillier, but the only real wind we see is flapping the American flag out in right center field. That's a little bit of a ways up from where we are, though.
So the 1-1, breaking ball outside. The count is 2-1 to Frank.
Avadana really able to snap a lot of movement on those breaking balls from all the way up there on the hill, standing at 6'7" on his own anyway.
He's a big boy at 6'7", 230.
Exactly.
Not moving at you.
Growing up in Fayetteville, Georgia as well.
The 2-1. Pitch was inside, but it was fouled off by Frank, and the count is once again even at 2-2.
When you grow up down south, you have to imagine he is constantly fending off those who are just trying to make him go to sports for both football and baseball.
Right, he could easily be a lineman of some sort for football, and I'm sure he was at one point in his life because he probably wasn't ever the shortest person in any of his classes. So 2-2 on the way to Frank, and it's cut on him. Missed strike 3. 2 straight strikeouts after the Hampton base hit and then moving to third. And now there are 2 away for Brandon Donovan. He's up for the 3rd time today. 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out. But you would not like to strand a runner at third with nobody out. Leadoff man. Want to score, but unable to get even a grounder have been Proctor and Frank. That pitch is off the glove of the catcher Schuler, but not far enough away for Hampton to come home. 1-0. Only 4 hits to this point for Hyannis. No runs yet. We are in the bottom of the 6th inning, 2-0 Brewster. The 1-0 is grounded towards Dixon at second. He's got it. Throws on to first in time, and the Harbor Hawks waste the leadoff man getting to third base, and they make outs on the next 3 batters. So we go to the 7th. 2-0 Brewster over the Harbor Hawks on the Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Five, 6, and 7 due up for the Brewster Whitecaps here in the top half of the 7th inning from McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. Chris Walker and Chris Lucy bringing it to you live from right behind home plate. Got a good view of everything, and Chandler Taylor will lead things off in the 7th against Matt Mervis. Lights just got turned on Still very, very light out, but the lights come on in anticipation. It will be dark in about an hour or so. First pitch was outside and low. It's 1-0 to Taylor, who takes another pitch outside 2-0. And Taylor, as we mentioned, was drafted. And what a day for him yesterday must have been, finding out that you're drafted by a major league franchise. It's huge. Getting drafted by the Twins in the 27th round, 796th overall, as he takes low 3-0.
Second player from Alabama taken this year.
(3-0) on the way from Mervis, and swinging 3-0 was Taylor. He fouls it back. Sometimes you get the green light, and after a day like the past two have been, why not?
Well, Chandler Taylor's no stranger to having a big day. Against Auburn this year, he had a big one himself.
That pitch just missed outside, maybe a bit low, and that's a leadoff walk for the second straight inning. Last inning, the leadoff walk did score. And Darius Hill will step in 2 pop-outs to his credit today. One in the second and one again in the 5th. So the leadoff man reaches with a walk. Mervis in the stretch. Deals the first pitch. It gets away from Proctor, and moving to second, standing up, is Taylor. We'll see how they score that.
Mervis and Proctor looking like they got crossed up there, which isn't what you'd expect from 2 collegiate teammates, too. Both at Duke.
Right, they're battery mates, and certainly not what you would expect. And they're going to call that a pass ball. And it did look like a cross-up, as you mentioned. Hill ahead in the count, 1-0, batting, and now it's 2-0. So a little bit of loss of command here, the first 2 batters from Mervis. And we will have time called and a visit from Ray Korn, the pitching coach. And this is the point in the game, Chris, where you really don't want to lose, hope of getting this game back even. It's only 2-0 now, and that's certainly more manageable than 3-4 and beyond are.
That's true, and honestly, the clock is ticking when you think about it. The Harbor Hawks really struggling to get anything going on the offensive side. So at 2-0, there's a sliver of hope that they can get something going over the next 3 bottom halves of the latter part of this game, but 2-0 is a lot easier to redeem than a 3-0, 4-0 deficit.
Coach Korn will exit the mound and shares a laugh with our home plate umpire tonight. And we're just about set to get underway again. 2-0 is the count to Darius Hill, the left fielder. And on second, nobody out. Top half of the 7th here in Hyannis. 2-0 Brewster. From the stretch, Mervis deals upstairs, and they count now 3-0 for the second straight time.
The pass ball charged to Proctor really changed the complexion of this inning.
Here is the 3-0, and it misses low, and that's 2 straight walks to start the inning for Mervis, and that's not what you like to see. There is action in the bullpen for the Harbor Hawks as a righty gets warmed up, and you want to get him warmed up quickly because you don't like the looks of this, as Coach Ryan Smythe gives the signs to Pete Schuler, 1 for 2. With a single back in the 5th and a fly out. Excuse me, that would be a sac fly. And now we'll have a meeting at the mound, perhaps to buy a little bit of time for the righty in the pen.
It looks like that might be needed right now. Mervis really just struggling to keep his composure out there.
Right, he started 3-0 to 2 straight guys, and well, he walked both of them as well. And that's exactly what that was for, is we're going to have Coach Gassman come out and most likely make the pitching change. We'll take a quick break, and when we come on back, we'll get you introduced to our new relief pitcher here on the Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Back inside the booth here at McKee Park, Chris Walker and Chris Lucy. The new pitcher for the Harbor Hawks is Davis Vayner, and Chris Lucy is here to tell you all about him.
Davis Vayner, coming in from University of Alabama, was 0-3 this year, 4.71 ERA in 28 2/3 innings pitched, walked 26 and struck out 44. He comes in at 6'1", 180 pounds.
And so Pete Schuler will dig in finally. Again, 1 for 1. He had the sac fly back in the second. And he comes on. 2 on, nobody out. And immediately looking back, Taylor to second base was Vayner. Vayner wears the old school kind of 90s looking socks. Don't quite go all the way down to the ankles. They show a little bit of the sock, but also not the high socks that Daniel Robinson has on in left field, as pitch number 1 to Schuler misses for a ball, 1-0. Two nothing Brewster over Hyannis in the top of the 7th. 2 on, nobody out. And the pitch gets away from Proctor and went all the way off the backstop and got away from him a second time. And we'll see how they score that as both runners advance. It's 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Count 2-0.
Looked like he was going to be able to make a nifty play off the wall with that, snagging it off the backstop on the fly, but it just barely sailed over his outstretched glove and both runners advanced.
That's another pass ball. Our second one for Proctor. This one is lined into shallow center, and coming on and making the play is Hampton, and he throws home. Nobody was going, but that's a big out for Vayner, and a nice play. Good charge by Hampton to prevent that ball from dropping. And so with 1 out, here comes Chris Given.
Brant Stallings coming over from first base just in time to cut that one off from home. a little shaky on his assignment there, but live and let live. He gets over just in time to keep that from short hopping to Chris Proctor.
Given waiting for Coach Smythe to give him the signs, but he was talking to Chandler Taylor over at third base, so Given will do what he wants, I guess, for pitch number 1. And here is pitch 1. It's taken for a ball. Given has the baggy old-timer pants, and he stands with a very, very close stance. No batting gloves. And the 1-0 on the way from Vayner. And that just misses as well, 2-0. First base is open here with 1 out. Second and third are full. Both walks to Taylor and Hill. And this one gets over for strike number 1. And those both runners are Matt Mervis's responsibility. Two-1 to Given, and the 2-1 is in there for called strike 2. We're even at 2-2. Strikeout would be just huge for Vayner, who is in quite a jam. Enters in quite a jam.
They certainly didn't do him any favors.
The 2-2 on the way, and it's hit softly into center, and it's going to get down. Coming on and scoring is Hampton. Excuse me. Coming on and scoring is Taylor. Hampton made the play in center field to cut it off, but it is 3-0 Brewster. And that run is charged to Mervis. Still 1 out. Runners on the corners now, so it's a single for Given. And Christian Molfetta comes in 0-for-2.
Infield was playing in on that one, and as Frank has usually been playing up the middle for the most part of this game, that nub single just out into short center field. Maybe a stretch to say he gets there, but you got to think it's a little interesting.
This one served into shallow center, and very, very similarly to Given's single that scored a run, Molfetta's scores a run. It's another RBI single, 2 in a row, and it's now 4-0 Brewster over the Harbor Hawks as Hill comes around to score. So 2 straight singles, bloopers, and both of them RBIs. 8 and 9 hitters certainly doing their job.
And Molfetta finally getting a blow down there. He only played in 2 games for the Stanford Cardinal this year.
Brings up the top of the order, and Troy Dixon, who walked and scored last inning. First pitch is a breaking ball, misses, 1-0. Now, the score is 4-0, and that's what we were talking about, not want to get too far behind. 4 is not easy to make up in 3 innings. It's been done plenty of times, but certainly not easy for these hitters who really haven't found it yet today.
Harbor Hawks only have 3 hits on the day, speaking of which, so 4 hits, I should say, actually. So you wouldn't expect much more coming down the stretch. They really are behind the 8 ball.
This one misses outside. It's 2-0 to the leadoff hitter, Dixon. Dixon with a very, very open stance. You would think he's a pull hitter, but he can hit to all areas of the field as this one misses again. Looked like another cross-up, and Proctor was not happy with either himself or Vayner as the count goes to 3-0. The ball popped in and out of his glove. 3-0 is low, ball 4, and the bases are loaded with Whitecaps. For the second straight time, Dixon walks, and bases are loaded with just 1 out here in the 7th. Chance for a big inning here. One swing of the bat would do it, and Steele Walker has a chance.
Already been about the biggest inning either team has seen so far, and as it's a result of uncharacteristically sloppy play. We haven't seen too much sloppiness out of the Harbor Hawks to this point.
First pitch is a called strike 1. against Walker. Walker is 0 for 2, struck out, grounded out, and hit a sac fly last inning. And the 0-1 on the way. Way up and outside. 1-1. Vayner struggling a bit with his location. He gave up the 2 singles and then a walk. Another righty warming in the Harbor Hawks bullpen. And the 1-1 is fouled straight back by Walker. He had a good look at it. And it's 1-2.
Another righty warming up in the Whitecaps bullpen as well.
I was going to say Walker had 8 home runs this year for Oklahoma. A home run would be pretty fatal for these Harbor Hawks. That pitch is a check swing. He did not go, and the count evens up at 2-2. But a home run would make this an 8-0 game, and Walker certainly can do it. You do not want to hang anything here, especially with 1 out. Bases are loaded on the top of the 7th. The 2-2 is chopped towards second base. A run's going to score, and they're going to throw on to first and get the out. So Frank makes the play. It's a fielder's choice. A run does score, and that's given, and it's now 5-0. Brewster. All the other runners do advance. So with 2 outs, it's second and third for Mickey Gasper.
As you said, Chris, it was definitely a cut your losses kind of situation with Steele Walker. 8 home runs on the season, some real deep field power, but certainly not out of the woods with Mickey Gasper.
And Walker does drive in the run. Gasper takes strike 1. He is 1 for 2 today with a single in the first, and he struck out looking in the fourth, and a sac fly last inning as well. The 0-1 is in there for called strike 2. So Vayner 1 pitch away from getting out of this. It'll be an 0-2 to Gasper. And the pitch is outside and low in the dirt. Good block by Proctor, and the count 1-2.
Proctor trying to redeem those 3 passed balls earlier in the inning that really rattled Mervis's cage and set the Harbor Hawks up for this drubbing.
The 1-2 pitch is lined in the right field, but playing shallow and making the play is Newstrom. So the big inning is partially avoided. 3 runs do come across, and the score is now 5-0 Brewster over Hyannis as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. 5, 6, and 7 do it for the Harbor Hawks in the bottom of the 7th inning. We have a new pitcher. It's number 32, Joe Demers from the University of Washington. Chris Lucy has more on Demers.
6'1", 225-pound sophomore out of Martinez, California, was 2017 All Pac-12 honorable mention. He was 6-3 with a 3.35 ERA in 15 games started, pitched 99.1 innings pitched with 65 strikeouts, and allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in 11 of his 14 starts.
Good stuff from Demers, and he'll face Newstrom, Coffey, and Robinson at least here in the 7th. Harbor Hawks are in a hole. 5-0 is this one. Fouled right back towards us. Hits the screen. It's 0-1. Now, go ahead.
Newstrom 2 hits last night. Still searching for his first one here.
The 0-1 from Demers is fouled off again. Third base side out of play. I was going to say there is a ballpark in Laconia, New Hampshire. And there is, and the Winnipesaukee Muskrats play there in the NACBL, and there is no screen. There's just a fence that goes about 8 feet up or 10 feet up behind home plate as that one's fouled off first base side. And behind it, in the press box, they have a wall, and there are about 10 or 12 baseballs that stuck into the wall that they left there and signed. They just fly in there. There's no glass. It's crazy.
Goodness.
Pitch outside to Newstrom, and the count 1-2. But I remember when I went up there, we only went up there once for Danbury, and a ball went and hit the wall and stuck in the wall. And it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. It almost took out their home broadcaster. This one is lined towards right field. It's for a base hit. Newstrom gets the 5th hit of the day for the Harbor Hawks, a leadoff single. It went off the glove of Dixon, but that was a big jump from Troy, and that's a leadoff single. That's exactly what you need if you're Hyannis.
Exactly what you need if you're Robert Newstrom, too. Just break out of that 0-2 funk. He had a nice fly out to right in the 5th inning, so he got wood on the ball, but just needed that knock right there to keep a strong season alive.
So here comes the hitman, Micah Coffey, 2 for 2 with 2 singles. Let's see if he can continue it here. He grounds this one right back at the pitcher, Demers, and that's a double play. A 1-6-3 double play. Not exactly what you draw up, but very nicely turned, and that is as much of a rally killer as anything. And there are quickly 2 outs here for Daniel Robinson.
Gosh, what a demoralizing bit of luck right there for the Harbor Hawks. An amazing play on the mound right there by Demers, just stabbing it out of midair, having the composure to hold it a little bit, throw it down to second base, and the Brewster Whitecaps infield turning that thing like a thing of beauty.
A 1-6-3 double play, and that was just a great play all around for Demers, as you said. Chris, that was a good throw, too. He threw it. He led on Given and just put it right on top of second base. And an easy second half of that turn, as that's called strike 2. It's 0-2, so Harbor Hawks had a chance for a bit of a rally, but they're 1 pitch away from being sent down in order, and the 0-2 is outside. We are in the bottom of the 7th. Not just before 8 p.m. here. And the 1-2 on the way, and it's flied into right field. Taylor is under it and makes the play for the final out of the 7th, so no runs, 1 hit, and nobody left on. We'll go to the 8th inning. Getting down to the end of this one. 5-0 Brewster over Hyannis on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. We're back for the top of the 8th inning from McKeon Park in Hyannis. We have a new pitcher for the Harbor Hawks. Number 24, Connor Green. Chris Lucy has more on Green.
Connor Green in 12 appearances with the Ole Miss Rebels this past season in the Southeastern Conference. 17 innings pitched. No wins, no losses, but a 5.29 ERA. A little deceptive. Batters only batted 222 against him.
So here's Michael Curry, the only batter that didn't get a chance to take his swings back in the 7th inning. Leads it off here in the 8th. That one gets away from Proctor, and it was low and away, 1-0. We're 5-0. Brewster is in front here of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. And very opposite to yesterday when the Harbor Hawks had a 3-0 lead over Wareham for most of the game. Pitch is in there, called strike one. It's 1-1, so a couple of the other scores. Besides this one, Bourne is up 3-2 on Chatham in the bottom of the 7th. Yarmouth 4-2 over Orleans. Cotuit 10-0 win over Falmouth. As the ferry goes off and called strike 2 is in there, it's 1-2. And then finally Wareham 2-0 over Harwich in the top of the 6th.
They're called the Harbor Hawks for a reason, Chris, and over in left center field, if you move those trees, you get a great view of the harbor. Hyannis.
2-2 the count as that one misses. Count even at 2 apiece as the ferry goes by, and that one misses low. 3-2. Now our good friend Matt Alberghini, who's sitting right next to me, thought that that was the train that just went by, but it's the ferry. I had to call him out because he was on the air before, so everybody knows who he is. As Curry works a walk. But I'll tell you what he does have that we don't have, and that's the photo credential with the cool picture. So there you go. I know.
I lost my broadcaster credential today. I was walking up the hill over there to use the lavatory and saw a rock, kind of felt a little baseball-y, wanted to give it a throw into a bush, and absolutely just ate it on the side of the hill over there.
Oh, my goodness. See, that's the you didn't tell me that, as Taylor takes a strike 0-1.
I had the ding on my knee to prove it.
Oh, no. And you lost your name tag, though. That's all right. They're easy to make, I think.
It ripped off the thing. That's why I'm just wearing a empty yellow lanyard at the moment.
0-1. This one served in the right field. It's a base hit. Coming over to cut it off is Newstrom, and going to third, standing up is Curry. It's a no-out single for Taylor, and that's his first hit of the game, although he's been on base twice before and scored both times. And Brewster has things cooking in the 8th inning with Darius Hill up.
Michael Curry really flying around the bases there. He does have a lot of confidence on the paths. He hit himself a double earlier in this game, but didn't really get to enjoy the view from out there in the infield because there was a play at home right after where Mickey Gasper was thrown out. That was in the 1st inning.
This one fouled off third base side near the cars, out of play. Hill scored last inning. He did walk. He was one of 2 walks to start that 7th. That's a rough inning for the Harbor Hawks. 3 batters walked and 3 batters scored, much like the 2nd inning of yesterday's game, where the Harbor Hawks scored 3 runs and 3 hits and 3 walks. That one well inside, coming home and scoring is Curry. And now it's 6-0. Whitecaps, as moving to second is Taylor. The pitch was a ball. The count is 1-1 to Hill. And so that's a sizable lead now for this Brewster club. And the Harbor Hawks are victim to another pass ball. I believe that's the 4th of the game for Proctor. the 1-1 on the way. Swing and a miss. Fastball inside corner. Good looking pitch there from Connor Green. Green wears the high socks, excuse me. And the short pants. 1-2 on the way. Upstairs, count even at 2-2. I always liked that look. That's the look I used when I played. I like the kind of old school look.
Exactly. Helps your legs breathe a little bit too. The
That's
sock
true.
fabric just a little bit lighter than those rough, rugged baseball pants.
The 2-2 on the way. It misses outside, and the count is full. So 1 on. That's Taylor. He's at second base. Nobody out in the 8th. For Hill, he's got a full count. And the 3-2 pitch is grounded towards short. Proctor's got it. Fires to first in time, and that's out number 1 in the 8th inning. Moving to third is Taylor, and Hill gets the job done, moving the runner over. So with 1 out, there's a man on third for Pete Schuler.
Number 17, Pete Schuler.
Schuler today is 1 for 3 with a single back in the 5th. Excuse me, 1 for 2. He had the sac fly back in the 2nd, and then the fly out to center last inning.
That lone run in the 2nd, also the factor almost solely of errors.
Now I got to change that in my book. I have F7 and RBI. It just should say sack. Now I won't get it wrong next time. That's what happens when you haven't done this in a couple of months, and then boom, second game in. The 1-0 is grounded off the plate. Foul, so it's 1-1.
There's a learning curve for everyone involved here. 2 games down, 43 to go here.
I tell you what, though, the second game, it already feels better than the first game.
It does.
And I think the other interns that are so hard at work always are feeling the same way.
Exactly.
The winning game, yes.
That's a favorite of Matt Alberghini over to my left here.
Swing and a miss at the high heat. And it's 1-2. Turned into a really nice night. I think it was a bit colder last night. I won't complain. This one hit in the left field, foul, and out of play into the prickers. I don't know anybody that would want to go in there, but there go the kids anyway. It looks like they found it.
They're starting a human chain, it looks like, out in left field, getting into those rows and pricker, and God knows what is growing between the Harbor Hawks bullpen and the stands.
You know, I made a really good observation. I'll get to you to it after this pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So down goes Schuler on strikes. It's the first strikeout for Green, and there are 2 away in the inning for Chris Given. But I made a good observation, and I think I might be a little bit warmer because I bought a sweatshirt.
Of course.
You know, and I got to tell you, these sweatshirts are pretty cool. This is a pullover, actually, I should specify.
You got that down at the Harbor Hawks shop below us.
I did. I love this pullover, and it's really, really nice and warm, and I got a couple of hats, and it's a good deal.
It really is.
That one, just missing the head of Given. He ducked underneath it.
We might be a little bit partial up here, but Harbor Hawks gear, really some of the finest in the Cape.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
That shop downstairs is awesome.
Definitely a must-see for fans coming in for games.
1-0 on the way. That breaks right into the strike zone. Good slider. It's 1-1.
Go down to that shop, ask for Kim. She's hard at work every day, getting everything set up down there. As well as our interns, more and more coming in as the temperatures start to drop.
That's what happens. And the other thing is when they're outside, as this one is called strike 2, when you got shorts on, it's so nice out during the day and then it gets cold and then you realize, oh no, when the sun goes away, forget it. And that's when everybody comes up here and it gets warm up here, which is good.
Well, that's the one thing that's deceptive about the Cape.
Called strike 3, 2 straight strikeouts to end the 8th, and a good end of the inning for Green, but Brewster does put home one more run, and they do lead 6-0 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. It's 6-0 Brewster over Hyannis on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network.
The Beach House Grill at Chatham Bars Inn Resort and Spa is the perfect spot for a seaside lunch or evening clam bake. A proud member of the leading hotels of the world, Chatham Bars Inn.
Joe Demers is back out there for the bottom of the 8th inning. The first pitch is caught by Schuler, the catcher, in foul territory. And well, that's the first out of the inning, and that's Stallings that swung the bat, and nothing happens there. But I'll tell you what,
What's that,
we have
Chris?
Chris Proctor coming up, and he's due for a hit today, and hopefully he can get it, himself a knock. And also we have a new second baseman, Anthony Parado, number 4 from UConn, making us feel right at home.
Speak for yourself. Poly Prep Country Day, a very common opponent of the Brunswick Bruins, a place where I frequented during my high school years down in the state of Connecticut.
Down there in Greenwich.
Yes, sir.
So Proctor is ahead 1-0. And there's the Osprey. I haven't heard much of them today. Called strike 1-1 the count.
2 Osprey are perched atop a light post out in right field. Osprey birds of prey seen flying around, scaring off other birds around the field.
This one fouled straight back over our booth and out of play. That won't hit any cards. That'll hit the top of the batting cages. And the count 1-2 to the catcher. A lot of quick innings for this Brewster pitching staff. They had a 1-2-3 in the 7th, the 4th, the 3rd, and the 1st. That one low in the dirt. And the count 2-2. Parado was a good hitter for UConn this past season. 5'10", 190 he stands. It's from Staten Island, New York. 304 average, 69 hits. Had 10 doubles and 33 runs batted in.
Not bad for your freshman year.
No, that's very, very good. The one knock is he did have 15 errors. Swing and a miss, strike 3, the ball in the dirt, and the throw over to first is in time. The strike him out in 2-3, and there are 2 away in the inning for the top of the order, and Reese Hampton, who is 1 for 3 on the day. And I'll tell you what, Demers is making quick work of this Harbor Hawks team, as have both Avedano and McDermott before him.
Hot and cold, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks bats. The only real big inning they had last night came early on.
That one fouled off. It's 0-1.
That was the second inning of last night's game against Wareham.
When those 3 runs scored, that was it.
3 runs on 3 hits.
The 0-1 is fouled off. Again, third base side. 0-2. Hampton made it as far as third. That's as close as a Harbor Hawk has come to scoring a run. He led off the sixth with the base hit and the error by Dixon. And then the next three batters made outs as another pitch fouled off, 3 straight. Count still 0-2. And that you could mark down as a turning point in this game, because at that point it was only 2-0. And when the leadoff man reached third, the next three made outs. Well, the next inning, all the runs started coming for Brewster. This one lined into left center. It's a base hit. The second of the game for Hampton. He's going for 2. Here comes the throw. It's high. And coming over to cut it off is Nicky Gasper at first base. So it's a double with 2 outs for Hampton, his second hit of the game. And there's some 2-out life and another man in scoring position. Here's Ford Proctor.
Hampton really doing it all by himself today, making some spectacular plays out in the field. We saw him rob a ball out in center.
So we'll have a pinch hitter for Proctor, and it looks like Dakota Jalilia. And it is Jalilia from Jacksonville, the junior. Now, we've been waiting for him because his dad, Rick, played college hockey for 3 seasons at Canisius. 30 games. That's my tie to him, at least, because I play hockey.
Canisius close to Syracuse as well, where I go to school. Central New York, local there.
First pitch was low. It's 1-0. So Proctor was 0 for 3, and that's how he'll end his night. Still looking for that first hit of the season. Here's the 1-0, and that's on the corner of the strike zone. 1-1. So 2 out here in the 8th, and a man on second. That's Hampton, who stretched a single into a double. That's what you got to do late in the games, especially when you're down 6. Only 4 outs to play with in the game. Off-speed pitch swung on and missed by Jalilia. He just swung right over the top of it. Good sliding, good slider action. And the count is 1-2.
Not much you can do about a pitch like that. Starting in the zone and then just ditching.
Exactly what you said. It just exactly that. 2-2.
Crossing me up out here, too.
I know. It was just such a good pitch. He tried it again, but he missed that time. It's 2-2 to Jalilia. Man on second. The pitch is foul-tipped into the glove of Schuler, and that's how the 8th ends. So no runs, 1 hit. 1 left on at the end of 8 innings. It's 6-0 Brewster over Hyannis as we head to the 9th on the Harbor Hawks digital network. We go to the 9th here in Hyannis, Massachusetts, and the new pitcher for the Harbor Hawks is the UMass Lowell Junior lefty Ricky Constant, and after the first pitch to Christian Molfetta, Chris Lucy will have more numbers on the tall lefty. As Molfetta digs in, he is 1 for 3 with a single, a strikeout, and a ground out. And we start the 9th with a ball outside. Chris.
13 appearances on the season for Constant here in 2017. 2 wins, no losses, an ERA of 10.20 in 15 innings pitched.
The 1-0 behind Molfetta. And he certainly didn't. I mean, he's going to go get the ball himself. It came all the way near the third base line. He'll get a new one, but that's got to be scary as a hitter when you see low 90s coming at you like that. It just slipped, obviously. I don't think there's any bad blood yet.
No, it doesn't give you any pause, though, when you think about guys in the big leagues getting upset at upper 90s stuff coming in chin high.
Right, we saw one yesterday. Now, who was that? Now, it would have been cool if I knew who that was. That got thrown. Oh, it was Cervelli.
Yeah,
it was Francisco Cervelli.
Jinx.
You got me this time.
Now you can't talk for the rest of the broadcast. I have handicapped you.
I'm in trouble now.
I'll let it slide, bud. You just owe me a soda.
You. There you go. 2-1 to Molfetta, but yes, Cervelli got upset. Yesterday I had a pitch that hit him. This one fouled off. Foul territory, but the play is made by Stallings. Way to track that one down, and there is 1 out in the 9th, and that brings up not Troy Dixon. It brings up, I got to go to my other side, and that's Anthony Prado. Prada, as they say on the loudspeaker. So Dixon finishes 0 for 2 as pitch number 1 to Prada is a ball outside, 1-0. He finished 0 for 2 with 2 walks and a run scored and a strikeout. The 1-0 from Constant is outside, 2-0.
Prado, no stranger to summer ball, played in the Atlantic League last summer. Hit .316 in 23 games.
Good sample size there, good numbers. This one fouled off first base side, out of play, 2-1 the count. And Prada, the Yukon guy, as we mentioned, 4 varsity letters, as you mentioned. He was also an MSG All-NYC Baseball first team selection in 2016 and 2015. This one fouled off first base side off the net, and we are 2-2.
Poly Prep, an athletic powerhouse down in New York City, sends D1 athletes out to universities all over the country.
Hit .316 with the Staten Island Tide of the Atlantic Collegiate Baseball League last season. This one outside, 3-2. So early on, Constant looks like his command is going to be something he'd like to work on.
Well, he's got a lot to command out there. He's coming in around 6'7".
He's a big kid. 3-2 is low and away, and that's a walk to Prada to bring up Steele Walker. And Steele Walker has a sac fly, grounded into a fielder's choice, but got an RBI. Grounded out to short and struck out in the first. Looking for his first hit of the ball game. So 1 on, 1 out for Constant. Bunch of games getting wrapped up in the Cape as that pitch misses outside, 1-0. So Katu had already won 10-0 against Falmouth. Yarmouth 4-2 against Orleans. It's been at the top of the 9th for like an hour, so I would assume that game's over. Bourne 4-2 over Chatham in the bottom of the 8th. This game 6-0 Brewster in the Top of the ninth. That's a breaking ball. Wow, it backed Walker up, and it dropped into the strike zone. 1-1, beautiful pitch. And then Wareham 9-0 over Harwich in the bottom of the sixth. So they finally come alive.
Took them long enough.
I know
But
they were
you could say the same about the Harbor Hawks tonight. They really have been absolutely dormant on the offensive side.
It looked like Wareham last night. It's a flip-flop.
Exactly. Bizarro world we were talking about. They
That's
had
right.
the Bizarro Clayton Kershaw and McDermott starting off this game.
1-1. Another breaking ball just misses. That's an excellent breaking pitch. And that's what happens when you get a tall guy like Constant. He just reaches back and throws from way up there, and it just breaks right in. Just missed the strike zone that time, though. Walker standing in, swinging and fouling one back. Third base side behind everybody.
Chris, I must
2-2.
Chris, I must say though that I think you and Constant would really get along pretty well
And why is
off
that?
the field. Well, first off, he plays hockey in his spare time, but also writes poetry too, because I know you're a hockey fan, but you also got a sensitive side.
There you go. You have to say it in the middle of on the air, but that's okay. That's all right. I love it though. Well, you wouldn't be wrong, as this one's fouled out of play. You wouldn't be wrong. You've heard in 4 days here how many times I've mentioned my girlfriend Melissa back at home. Probably 200 already.
Upwards of that, I think.
Upwards of that, at least. But I'll tell you what, it's been fun the first 4 days away from everybody for the first time, because I didn't go away to school. I stayed local, but it's been very, very cool.
It's been cool having you here too, man.
Some good baseball, too, as the 2-2 is grounded foul first base side. And we'll do it again, 2-2. Good at bat from Walker here. Good battle, a lot of foul balls. Staying alive with a 2-2 count.
Big Constant, earn it.
Mm-hmm. And it is, I guess you could say, mop-up duty for Constant. But to get in work, it's very early in the season. You want to get in as much work with all your guys. And this is a game where you can do it. 6-0 Brewster in the top of the ninth. And a couple of different guys have worked. This is the fifth pitcher for Coach Chad Gassman today. We had Coulter. Coulter did a very, very nice job to start the game. Then Matt Mervis struggled. David Zvayner struggled. Connor Green had a pretty good outing. And now here is Constant. 1 out, 1 on. 2-2 count to Walker. Another foul ball. Good breaking ball. But Walker is on the breaking pitch right now.
That breaking pitch is a bat shredder. Look at that.
Man, sure is. Broke the head of the bat.
It's the barrel.
Yeah. Right off the end of the barrel it broke. You don't usually see a bat break there.
No. Breaking ball doing damage. Just as we've seen the Bizarro Clayton Kershaw, we might have found Bizarro Mariano Rivera breaking bats on the barrel rather than in on the hands.
You gotta love it. Bizarro. 2-2. Breaking ball called strike 3, and that must feel good for Constant. He got the pitch he finally wanted, and that's just an impressive breaking ball. It starts right at the batter, and at the last second breaks in. There's nothing you can do.
No, nothing whatsoever, even if you sit on that.
No, and that's the beauty of that pitch. And it brings up Mickey Gasper with 2 outs. In the stretch is Constant, and the pitch is called strike 1. Constant, whether he means it or not, has the first couple of buttons on his jersey unbuttoned, and that's a look. It is a look. So it could be on purpose.
Summary look right there.
The 0-1 breaking ball just off the plate. And we're 1-1 now.
Not quite the night where you need to button down to cool off, as it's starting to get a little chilly down here at McKeon Park. Has to be in the low 60s to upper 50s at the moment.
1-1 low. Count 2-1. So 6-0 Brewster in command of this one. over the Harbor Hawks. That one called strike 2 on the inside corner. And Gasper has a 2-2 count to work with.
Gasper already with a strikeout looking today. He did that in the top of the 4th.
Time called here, and now tomorrow might get a little bit interesting because there is rain in the forecast for part of the day, more specifically the night portion of the day, when we will be in Wareham. Hopefully we have a game, as this one is fouled off out of play behind home plate. 2-2 still. So stay tuned for that one. We certainly don't want to have rainouts early on because that takes the off days away later on.
Just when players and broadcasters alike need it the most.
Exactly. Everybody needs their reps early in the season. This breaking ball is called strike 3. Good inning for Constant. 2 back-to-back looking strikeouts for the Brewster Whitecaps. And we head to the bottom of the 9th. Last chance for the Harbor Hawks here. They'll send up the heart of their order, though, and we'll see if they can make any kind of a comeback right here on the Harbor Hawks digital network. Back with you on the Harbor Hawks digital network as the throw goes down to second. We have a new pitcher. His name sounds awfully similar to our own Chris Lucey's. It's Tony Losi, and Chris Lucey has his numbers.
That's right. He comes in to face pinch hitter Reed Leonard, and he pitched 42 1/3 innings this year, 6.38 ERA to a 2-4 win-loss record, and struck out 37, walked 31.
And we thank our, I guess, supervisor, John Cabral, for telling us all the substitutions and the pitching changes and the errors or pass balls. It would be very hard without him, I'll tell you that.
Seriously, he's got a good eye. He's been at this for a while.
Very, very long time. Calls games for Dartmouth.
UMass Dartmouth, that's right.
And they have a couple of sports in the LEC where my school, Western Connecticut State University, played. So the first pitch was a ball to Leonard. Second pitch is grounded towards first. It's going to be a tough play. The flip is over to Losi, but they do get Leonard 3-1. And that's the first out, and their Hawks are down to their final 2 outs as Brendan Donovan will step up. 0 for 3, 2 ground outs and a strikeout.
The designated hitter from South Alabama, number 11, Brendan Donovan.
And regardless of if a comeback happens or not, well, the Harbor Hawks are going to have to work on their consistency, and they did score 3 runs and win the game yesterday, but they all did come in 1 inning. So if you think about it, if nothing happens here, that's 17 out of 18 innings with no runs, which is certainly something you'd like to improve on after 2 games. And this one misses upstairs 2-0 to Donovan.
Again, it is early in the season as well. This club's still mixing and matching. I mean, Donovan was in the field yesterday and DH today. Didn't really do much for his bat as he's 0 for 3 coming into this at bat.
The 2-0 from Losi is called strike 1.
Last night Leonard was 0 for 2, but he did reach base twice, hit by a pitch in the first and a walk in the bottom of the second.
Drew a lot of full counts too. 2-1 is off the outside corner, 3-1. And even though this game probably belongs to Brewster, you'd like to see 1 or 2 across the plate here. Give the fans that remain and the team some life. That is a pitch low, and that's ball 4, so a 1-out walk, and Donovan is aboard. Again, he keeps his on-base streak alive and boosts his on-base percentage. And that brings up Robert Newstrom, who is 1 for 3 today.
Newstrom, an owner of one of 5 Harbor Hawks hits coming into this at bat. Six Harbor Hawks hits, I should say.
But they've been very, very spread out.
Indeed. Too spread out to put a run on the board.
That's right. The only inning where 2 hits in a row happened was in the 5th, as a called strike is dealt to Newstrom, and those were 2 singles with 1 out. And to follow them, Connor Stevens came in the game and struck out, and then Chris Proctor grounded out. So that was the only inning with 2 hits. And there was the double in the 8th by Hampton with 2 outs, and that was wasted as well. The 0-1 is outside 1-1 now to Newstrom, the right fielder. Wasn't all that busy today, but made a few plays. Right field hasn't been particularly busy at all the past 2 games at least.
Luckily for the right fielders, early in the game, it's got to be almost impossible to see.
This is outside as well, same spot, 2-1.
The sun going to be a big theme this season just because of how strangely it kind of just bleeds across the field slowly early on in games. And right field, for the most part, is really the last part of the field to not be drenched in sunlight, coming at a very tough angle for fielders to see the ball coming in.
2-1 is outside as well, 3-1. I've got to shout out the Danbury broadcaster. They got a game tonight down at WestCon. Steve Wasserman and Kyle Kloiber, my old buddies from WestCon, are on the call tonight. Danbury getting off to a good start this year in the NACBL, which makes manager Josh Perro a very happy man indeed. 3-1 is low again in 2 straight walks. And the Harbor Hawks have something cooking here with 1 out. 2 on for the third baseman, Micah Coffey, who's had the best day. He has 2 hits. Did ground into a double play, but he still has those 2 singles. A single here would be a great thing for the Harbor Hawks.
That's a third of the Harbor Hawks offense on the day from Micah Coffey, doing it in style with that flamboyant blue-barreled bat.
So 2 on and 1 out. This is similar to the 5th inning when the Hawks had 2 on and 1 out. And Losi in a bit of trouble here. First pitch missing inside. It's 1-0. Now, I have 1 out, but the board has none. There is 1 out, correct? There was the ground out to first.
Yes, there's 1 out.
Okay.
Reed Leonard was the one who did that.
That's right. Thank you. This one fouled right back at me. 1-1.
Scoreboard just changed. Look
Here
at
we
you.
go.
Making things happen up here.
I got confused because usually the scoreboard is what we go by.
Usually. They teach you on the field not to look at the scoreboard.
I know.
Us up here is another story, I suppose, but got to keep your own counsel, as my grandfather used to say.
That's right. Don't doubt yourself like I did either. 1-1 is the count to Coffey. And this one is low. So it goes without saying that Losi's having a bit of trouble with his command with the 2 straight walks. And now a 2-1 count to the number 6 hitter.
Again, early on in the season, it's a little cold outside too. You have to wonder maybe the fingers aren't quite feeling the ball as much as Losi would like them.
2-1 is fouled straight down. And it is 2-2. Daniel Robinson would be next. Count even with 1 out and 2 men on for the Harbor Hawks. In the bottom of the ninth, they trail 6-0 to Brewster. And the pitch from Losi is called. Strike 3 on the outside corner. And Coffey did not like it. But there are 2 away. And the last hope is Daniel Robinson. Getting a bit of a scouting report from Coffey. As Coffey walks back to the dugout for what I would imagine to be the final time tonight. So 2 on, 2 out. Let's see if Robinson can make it happen. He's 1 for 3 tonight.
Chris, I know we're not given to speculation up here, but I must say, you think Coffey is telling Robinson not to let that outside corner get away from him. It's been a strike for the most part.
And that time it's a ball. Similar location.
Very.
In fact, that looked like the same location.
When in doubt, I mean, if you've seen that same pitch being called a ball, a strike, you really can't take a risk.
No. But Robinson won that one. And this one is fouled off third base side, out of play. Another one for the kids out there. That seems to be the area that all the kids stand in anyways. They know.
You'd wish they're paying a bit more attention to the game if you're on the field, but
I'm sure they come away with more than 1 souvenir each per game at this rate.
exactly.
1-1 is outside to Robinson. I'll tell you what, we gotta bring this broadcast out into the stands and sit right where all the foul balls go and bring our gloves, and then we could make some plays, and then we can have souvenirs.
Again, tough to pay attention to the game behind that big shrub and a metal stand, but I like the idea. Very creative.
The 2-1 right back up the middle. It's a base hit into center field. Coming around third and scoring, standing up, is Brandon Donovan. It's an RBI single for Daniel Robinson, and the Harbor Hawks are on the board.
See the ball hit the ball right there. Hitters count 2-1. If you love it, get some wood on it.
That's the second hit of the game for Robinson, who's 2 for 4. Brings up Brant Stallings. And, well, good. That's a good finish, at least if, I mean, the game's not over yet. But even if it were to end like this, it's good to see stringing. That's a clutch hit. That's what you want to see going into tomorrow, certainly.
Exactly. Coming against a familiar staff, too, in Wareham, where the Harbor Hawks were able to scratch together 3 runs.
And the Gatemen were winning big 9-0 at last I checked. So looks like each team will be 1-1 going into tomorrow's matchup in Wareham, should the rain not play into it. The 0-1 outside, and the count 1-1 to Stallings.
The 6-1 deficit aside, Chris, you have to imagine the Harbor Hawks are happy to have the big boy Stallings up there, 6'4", 220. 6 home runs for Georgia Tech this season as well.
The 1-1 check swing, it's called strike 2. So the Harbor Hawks are down to their final strike. Trying to prolong this a little bit longer is Stallings. And the pitch is caught on and missed, strike 3. It's in the dirt. The throw on the first is in time, and that's the ball game. The Harbor Hawks fall 6-1 to the Brewster Whitecaps, and Brewster will move to 2-0, and the Harbor Hawks will fall to 1-1 on the very, very young season. Now, Chris Lucy, what did you like, what did you not like from the Harbor Hawks tonight?
Well, one thing you really can't have, even early on in the season, is just sloppiness in the field. And Chris Proctor, as he had a great game in his debut in the Cape League this season, really struggled behind home. 5 passed balls on the day. He really just struggled to be in sync with his pitching staff, and it set up some opportunities that the Whitecaps were able to take advantage of.
No, you're exactly right. And so it is a 1-1 record right now for Hyannis. We'll be back in just a minute to recap things on our post-game show, which will start right after a short break on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Welcome back to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks post-game. Chris Walker and Chris Lucy in the booth after the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 6-1 loss to the Brewster Whitecaps. And the Whitecaps moving to 2-0 on the season. Great start for them. And Hyannis falls to 1-1 very early on in the season. But Chris Lucy, it started off very well for both pitchers. But for the Harbor Hawks, Kevin Coulter, great outing.
Exactly. That's why I give him my player of the game. The Whitecaps really have been an offensive force so far in the Young Cape League season. 2 games, 12 runs scored between this 6-1 win against the Harbor Hawks and then another 6-1 win to start the season against the Orleans Firebirds. But Kevin Coulter able to get the job done very well over 5 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run allowed, 4 strikeouts, and 1 walk only. He really was setting a good tone for the Harbor Hawks that unfortunately the 4 pitchers that followed, save Ricky Constant, just couldn't live up to.
Right, and then there was the hitting, obviously, of Brewster. They had a big inning, as you know, the Harbor Hawks did. They had the big inning in the 7th with all the walks and the hits, and it started off very slow for the offense. They had the 1 run in the 2nd inning, but on the other side of things, pitching wise, J.R. McDermott had a very good outing as well, going 5 innings and no runs.
Exactly. McDermott was really baffling. 4 strikeouts to go along with that, only 3 hits, and the bullpen picked up the slack as well. The only real trouble they had was at the end of the game, but only 1 run got across the board, and the pitching staff really just baffled the Harbor Hawks all day.
And finally, there were 2 innings in this game where things could have really changed for the Harbor Hawks in terms of scoring runs, and that was the 5th when they had 2 on and 1 out, and there was a strikeout and a ground out that ended the inning after that. And then the 6th with the leadoff single and then the error, sending Reese Hampton to 3rd. There was a runner on 3rd with nobody out. And the next 2 batters struck out, and then Brandon Donovan grounded out to 2nd. I think that was the turning point, because after the 6th inning, that was the big inning in the 7th for Brewster when they scored 3 and put this out of reach. And so going into tomorrow's game against Wareham, at their place in Wareham, what do these Harbor Hawks have to work on?
I think discipline is the main thing. Not only discipline at the plate, as we saw a pair of strikeouts kill the rally in the 9th as well, but you also have to imagine discipline in the field too. 4 errors from behind the plate is not going to cut it. Chris Proctor really will just have to step his game up there if they keep him behind the plate. Dom DiCaprio on the Cape now as well. A very serviceable catcher with a big bat out of Rice University, someone that Ford Proctor brought with him to the Cape this season. And discipline in other parts of the field as well, just so they continue to play a stout defensive game, because that was really their biggest advantage over the Gatemen in that 3-0 game where, you know, it was a slow offensive day for the most part for the Harbor Hawks, save that one big inning they had in the bottom of the 2nd.
All right, well, that'll do it for us in the booth today. Tomorrow we will be back, not here, but we will be at Spillane Field in Wareham, Mass. It's a 6:30 start against the Wareham Gatemen. It's tomorrow, Friday, June 16th, the 6:30 start. We hope you'll join us. And for Chris Lucy and everybody, all the hardworking interns around here, I'm Chris Walker saying so long from McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. Have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.